Welcome to Bunnex Investment Group YouTube Mentorship Part 4, where we are going to talk about one of the easiest trading strategies that will definitely change your trading game for the better. So in this strategy, we are going to be looking at taking entries on yesterday's low or yesterday's high, depending on the market context. So what is yesterday's low or yesterday's high? In this case, we have these traces. Let me zoom in. We have these black traces. They mark the initiation of a day and the end of a day. So by high and low in this particular day, let me put a marker for that day so that you won't be confused. In this day, right, started at this point, ended at this point. The high of that day is this one, and the low of that day is this one. So we are going to be looking at making our entries at these points. However, there is criteria that needs to be done before you determine which high of day or low of day is valid. So how do we determine that this is a valid high of day or low of day? We need to actually count levels to find the bias of the market so that we know where we are in the cycle. So let's count these levels for us to see where we are in the cycle, right? In this case, we can see that we had a multi-session W at this point, right? From that multi-session W, we can start to count levels from the second leg. So where is our entry going to be? Our entries are going to be at entry. In this case, it's an upward market context. We are going to be looking at yesterday's low for us to enter the market. Where is the yesterday's low in the cycle? So in the cycle, we are going to look for, if we get level 1, right? From level 1, we are going to look for level 2 retest of yesterday, like this. Before we go on level 2, we should make sure that we are trading off yesterday like this. So in this case, we had low of day at this day and then retest of yesterday's low at this point. And we get level 2 and level 3. Basically, that is what we will be looking for, and that is the whole strategy is basing on. So to count levels, I'm going to use these rectangles, and to fully understand or to learn about counting levels, we have that in our advanced course, which is going for a $99, and you can learn this skill in detail. So we had level 1. After level 1, we can see we had a small impulsive rise or a small day of rise, and then the market went to the downside. So from that downside, that is where we actually say we want to retest yesterday's low, which is this one, to make an entry for level 2 flow, right? So level 2 actually went past a high of level of the previous impulse to give us this point. So after entering this zone, our stop loss will be below this yesterday's low, and our take profit, we can hold it for level 2 and level 3. In this case, we had this move, right? And from there, we had a multi-session reversal setup. From that multi-session reversal setup, we started again the count, which is now a different, actually on this count, we are starting to count levels from level 1 up to level 3 again. So as we always define levels, levels are basically days of rise or days of drop. In some cases, we would see that levels we issue impulses of 3s from the M15 time frame. That is now a concept that is taught deeply in the advanced course. So by 3 impulses of the M15 time frame, you would see this is a very complicated point of trading or counting levels, because you'd say, where is the day of rise and what is happening? But in this case, we can see that we had push 1, 2, and 3. Therefore, this whole structure was a level, right? And our entry, as I was saying, is obtained on level 2 and from retest of yesterday. In this case, we can see the market went down, right? Went up and came back to yesterday's low region, right? It's actually a region. In this case, there were railroad tracks at this point. We came back and attempted to hit it again. So we had level 1, right? After level 1, we now go for level 2, which is this one. From level 2, right, we had another level, and in this case the market makers decided to issue 4 levels of rise, because probably at this point or this M pattern there was not enough liquidity for them to turn the market to the downside. So in this case, our entry was going to be at this point, retest of yesterday, and if we were going to be knowing the whole cycle of the higher time frame, someone would hold trades from this point up to that point. So after 4 levels of rise, which was actually a manipulation move, because this M was supposed to give us at least a proper reset for us to continue with the cycle, but they decided to push it up further to the upside like this, and then later made a reset, right? So this was a reset to restart again, right? From that reset, we have something that is called variation of the theme. By variation of the theme, we are saying they change how the market moves, because it will be easily adapted to if they do the same thing the same way from time to time again. So in this case, we had level 1 flow. From level 1 flow, we were expecting again to see retest of this low. However, they did not even attempt to come to that zone for a level 2 flow, right? And then what they did was actually to run away. But as disciplined traders, we should always know that this happens. Sometimes we miss trades, and sometimes you won't find a proper trade for the whole week or for even 2 weeks. In some cases, the market may chop to that extent. Then we had the last level like that to the upside. So in this case, as you can see, we've counted levels, 3 sets of 3s, and if we go on the H4 time frame, this is how it looks. We had set 1, set 2, set 3, and from that set 3, we now have a higher time frame peak, which is an H4 peak, which we anticipate to see a reset from, and that can also give us our entries. From this point, we are now counting levels to the downside. So on H1 time frame, right, we can know that we have been issued something that looks like an H1 level like this, level 1, and in this case we have this top part, which is still the high of day on the day of recording this video. So this point is now our reference. If the market makers are going to follow the rules that we have been talking about, we would say we are expecting to see retest of this region for a level 2 flow like that. That is basically an anticipation, which is the first step in trading before you make your entries. So basically, this is a strategy that will definitely help you if you follow it properly. But as I've said, you need to count levels properly, and that is a topic that is discussed in detail in our advanced course. You need to check it out. On that note, we come to the end of this video. See you on the next one.